Good day, everybody. This is Pattie Grimm, and I'm so excited to be here today. Last week, I posted to Facebook a video I did a couple of years ago. And I posted the video and I said I was going to follow that up with a series of videos over the course of the next couple of weeks. So, this is all based on my book, Quiet Women Never Change History. Be strong, stand up, stand out. Let's go kick some glass. And so, what's funny is I wrote this book in 2016. I spent 3 years interviewing over 3,000 men and women leaders about what makes great women leaders, what are the challenges they face, what are their success secrets, and how they overcome things in their career. I wrote it in 2016, and what's interesting is given what's happened recently with COVID, it's actually as relevant, or if not more relevant today, since in many areas women have lost ground. So last week I just talked kind of a high level about a little bit about the book. What I'm going to do within the course of the next 5 weeks is I'm going to release a video every Friday that factors in one of the particular 5 ways to be a strong, confident, empowered woman leader. So this week we're going to talk about be strong. Let's be strong and let's go kick some glass. And so what my mission in life is to make a difference and empower women and girls to be the best they can be and to leave the world a better place for women and men today, tomorrow, and forever. We have so much ground to make up, and technically, according to the World Economic Forum, it'll take us another 200 years to achieve pay parity, equity, and full inclusion. In my business, I empower mid-career women to go from burnout to breakthrough, like I went through, from stagnation to success. And I have 2 programs I offer. One is an Accelerate Her, which is an individual or small group coaching program for women. And the other one is a Leader Her program, which is a series of leadership workshops to empower and create more strong, great leaders within organizations or women's associations and nonprofits. So I talked briefly about last time the 5 ways. I'm just going to review these quickly, and we're going to talk about the first one about be strong and play to your strengths. One of the most important things I found of all the women and men that I interviewed, they all talked about you need to find your peak performance zone, your zone where you are so good at what you do and you're leveraging your strengths and you can become stronger and better. So we're going to go through a series of a little fun exercise in a few minutes with birds on how to know and understand it so you can play to your strengths and find career opportunities that fit with you in you, that fit you like a good pair of jeans, right? That are so hard to find nowadays. Next week, I'll talk about stand up, about how important it is to develop a personal leadership vision, to be able to guide your career and your life and make decisions. And I'll give lots of practical examples of that. Week 3, we'll talk about stand out, being more valuable, being more vocal, and being more visible in your career. So we stand out and we're able to achieve what we need to achieve because you know you are that woman you want to be. It's within you. Number 4 will be on put yourself number 1 on your things to do list. I talk pretty openly when I do my presentations about waking up one day. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm living outside of Seattle, Washington, a little city called Redmond, Washington, working for one of the world's largest tech companies. I'd been there 15 years. At that time, I'd been there about 12 years. And I woke up one morning and I found myself laying on my bathroom floor in a combination of tears and sweats with my computer sitting next to me and my phone. And I had worked so hard and so long and had put myself on the back burner. I wasn't number 1 on my things to do list. I wasn't probably even in the top 100. And I found myself in that moment having to get myself back up again because I did not put myself number 1 on my things to do list. And finally, the last week, we'll talk about pay it forward and leaving the world a better place. So the thing about playing to your strengths is how do you find your strengths? Well, there's a variety of ways you can do that. And one of the things I would like you to do right now is just take out a piece of paper. If you're driving, you can do this when you get home. If you happen to be listening to this on the radio or on a podcast or on YouTube. But I want you to take out a piece of paper and I want you to write your name 3 times with your dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, write your name with your right hand 3 times. First name, last name, print, write, I don't care, just write your name quickly. How'd that feel? It felt natural. It was easy. There wasn't a lot of stress. I didn't even have to think about it. I just wrote my name with my normal hand. Now take that pen and put that pen in your opposite hand. And now write your name 3 times. So how did that feel? Uncomfortable, awkward, funny. I couldn't even figure out how to hold the pen And if you had to do that long enough, you would develop strain and stress in your shoulder. That's what a preference is all about. You simply prefer to be right or left-handed. As much as some of us might joke, my daughter's left-handed about being left-handed and watch them try to do things with tools that are made for right-handed people, like simple thing like a pair of scissors. There is no right or wrong. You simply have a preference. The theory of people being born with a set of preferences actually dates back to Plato. He believed that people have a certain way or preferences for how they think, how they act, how they communicate, how they make decisions, how they prefer to interact with people. It's simply a preference. There is no bad, no right or wrong. Carl Jung was a psychologist that also proved this theory in the 1920s. Advance forward to about World War II, and the mother and daughter team of Myers and Briggs came out with the Myers-Briggs type indicator, many of which you probably have taken. I'm a predictive index certified partner, and we use something called a behavioral assessment that's been out since the 1950s. That is the only scientific data-based backed personal assessment that's out there. A very popular one is DISC that I'll use today because it's easy to understand, it's fun, and it's very easy for people to know and remember what their strengths or styles are. And then another popular one is Marcus Buckingham and Gallup's work on Discover Your Strengths through Strength Finder. So those are all different ways of looking at how you manage your strengths. When I do this as a workshop with my women or in my general team building workshops, I use these 4 images. I use an eagle, a peacock, an owl, and a dove. And so I want you to think about these birds in nature and think about what is the one that is most like you. What words would you use to describe your MO, which is your modus operandi, right? They talk about a criminal having a certain MO. That's a modus operandi. And you have certain strengths and ways you would describe yourself. Think about how you would describe an eagle. They're regal, they're smart, they're targeted, they fly above, and when they see something they want, like a prey or an animal, they go down and get it and they come back up again. Eagles don't flock. They tend to work independently, but they're bright. They make smart, fast decisions. They make things happen. Think about a peacock. They're colorful, they're spontaneous, they're creative, they're fun. They like to do things differently. They like to wear bright colors, and they like to have bright things in their home and offices. This applies to you at work. This applies to you at home. Think about the owl. How would you describe the owl? They're smart. They're wise. They can see in all directions. They're structured. They're organized. They're detailed focused. They have incredible eyesight. And then think about the dove. They represent peace and happiness and harmony. They're always going to be the one that wants to bring everybody together and make sure that everybody's happy. And all of these styles, any strength to an extreme can become a weakness. So under stress, you can go from being that assertive eagle to being aggressive, to that creative dove to being spontaneous and unpredictable, from being that owl to being too structured to move quickly, and for being that dove for caring too much. And also sometimes I have people create a motto or a slogan. So I'm going to use this DISC profile, and the DISC profile uses DISC as the acronyms to describe each one of these styles. And you'll notice there are 4 different dimensions on the slide. The top one is someone who is more direct, right? So eagles and peacocks are going to be more direct. If you ask an eagle or a peacock, where do you want to go to dinner tonight? They're going to say, let's go to Thai food or let's go to barbecue, because they're going to be more direct. If you ask an owl, where do you want to go to dinner tonight? They're going to be more indirect. They're going to say, well, let me look up the reviews on Yelp, and I'll get back to you in a few minutes and send you some recommendations. If you're the dove, you're going to say something like, oh, I don't care, where do you want to go? So it's just a difference in style, whether you're direct and you speak, or whether you're indirect and you think and then speak. The other side is task versus relationship. So eagles and owls are task focused. They think about the facts, the details, the information. They want things done in a very organized and structured, efficient way. Efficiency is important. Accuracy is important. If you asked an owl or an eagle to hire someone, they're going to look at the person's certifications, their resume, their education. If you look at the peacock and the dove, they're more relationship focused. They're going to think with their heart before they think with their head. They're going to make the decisions based on what's best for the team. And so if they were going to hire someone, they would be looking for someone that has the right culture or fit, that they can get along with, that has the good relationship. So there is no right or wrong. And as a team, you need all of these styles. So your eagles, if you're in that category, you're direct, decisive doers. You get things done. Very positive in a team. To an extreme, you can be seen as dominant or dominating and aggressive, and sometimes don't appear to be listening or taking in other people's ideas. If you're the peacock, you're inspirational, you're interactive, you're interesting, you're spontaneous, you change quickly. Many peacocks suffer from the shiny ball syndrome. New thing on the news comes out that here's the way business is going, and they're going after that shiny object or that shiny ball. They can be impulsive, disorganized, and big procrastinators, because they're disorganized or they just don't want to make a decision yet. If you're talking about your owls, they're complete, cautious, and careful. They're detail oriented. They're focused on structure. They want to have rules and regulations. To an extreme, they can suffer from analysis paralysis. Again, any strength to an extreme becomes a weakness. And they can be very slow to change. It takes them a long time to change because they have to understand the whole picture, the past, present, and future. If you're a dove, you're supportive, sincere, and excellent team players. You're the heart of the team. You always know what's going on, but you can be too sensitive and sometimes too caring. So there's no good or bad, or there's no right or wrong. And I'm hoping that these slides are working today because I recorded this yesterday. The slides didn't work. So hopefully this is working today. So these aren't going to be perfect videos. They're meant to be real and honest. So if you're an eagle, your motto, be brief, be bold, be gone. You're direct and to the point. You get things done is one of your strengths. People know where they stand with you, and you're action oriented. You're strong and assertive, and you're focused and forceful. If you're a peacock, you want to be involved. You want to have something exciting, something new, that shiny object. All right. So you can have lots of passion and energy. You're great at convincing people to do things because you're positive and you're assertive, because you're direct and people focused in that little quadrant up there. You're optimistic and fun loving. There's never a bad day. The sun will always come out tomorrow. You bring energy to a team, creativity, innovation, and you are people oriented. Where the eagle, who is also in that upper quadrant that is direct, they're action oriented, right? So that's their quadrant on the chart. If you're an owl, give me the details, show me the facts, be organized in structures. Owls see all sides of the issue. They always think before acting, and they create organized structure, systems, and they're task focused on that quadrant, right? And they're indirect. So sometimes they're going to be more on the introverted side. And there's a huge myth about introversion and extroversion that I want to dispel. There's a myth that extroverts have good, outgoing personalities. That's because they are direct focused. Introverts are indirect focused, and they need time to think before responding. Sometimes I say to extroverts, you speak, then think, and introverts think and then speak. But it's also where you get your energy. Extroverts get their energy by going out and talking to people and brainstorming, getting lots of ideas. That's why they love team meetings and offsites and all these kinds of all hands meetings. They love to be with people. The owls and the doves love to be with people because they're very people oriented, but you get your energy from inside. You need to reflect before you can respond. So your doves, show me you care. If you're going to institute a new policy, show me how it's going to help people, how it's going to help the customers or partners, because you're people oriented. You see the human side of every issue. You're caring and kind. You have a great pulse on people and people issues. You're great coaches and developers of people. So that's what the strengths are on these four styles. Remember, any strength to an extreme becomes a weakness. So how do you find your style, and your strengths? Well, there's a couple of ways. One, you can contact me, and I can help take you through a predictive index behavioral assessment or a DISC survey. You can go online and take a DISC survey for free, and you'll get a nice report that talks about your strengths and your downsides. It'll actually show you your depth of strength in all four quadrants. So I show up as pretty high eagle, peacock, then it comes dove, and then it comes owl. So you'll see that, and you many times some of these assessments will show your natural strengths and then your strengths when you're under stress. Another way that's fairly simple is just grab a notebook, and for about a week, every time you do something, take your notebook and put strengths, put a line down the middle, put strengths on one side and weaknesses on the other, and write down on the strength side when you do something that makes you feel strong. It energizes you. You love doing it, and you find yourself doing it naturally when nobody's watching. It's easy for you to do. It is your peak performance zone. It's when you're in that zone where you have so many things going well that you feel so productive, and it's your true passion. On the other side, write down things that drain you, that zap your energy. You can do it like write with your opposite hand. If you broke your dominant hand, you could get better at writing with your opposite hand. But as soon as you were allowed to go back to using your dominant hand, you would do so in a heartbeat. You avoid or delay doing it. For me, because my owl is very small, my detour orientation is very small, it's hard for me to read all the details sometimes, even in a contract, or complete something like an expense report, even when somebody or company owes me money. Is and remembering to keep the receipts is a whole nother one that my husband and I have discussions about after every business trip. It's simply your stressor zone. It's not in your wheelhouse. You can do it. You just don't like doing it. It doesn't feel comfortable. It doesn't feel natural. Find that peak performance zone. Play to your strengths and find jobs and careers that fit that. We'll talk more about that next week as well. So what? If you understand and find your strengths, and all the women and men I talked to said, when I am in my peak performance zone, my productivity is off the charts. I am happy. I'm getting stuff done. I feel great at the end of the day. I go home feeling like I accomplished the world. It improves team relationships among team members, bosses, and coworkers. So one of the concepts is probably about 20, maybe 25 years old now, called emotional intelligence from Daniel Goleman. You could pick up the book. You can even find a quiz online on finding your emotional intelligence. What he found was, after years of research, of interviewing and researching people from the age of 2 to 80, is that people who have high EQ, emotional intelligence, do better in life than people who only have a high IQ. Your EQ skills are four things. One is self-awareness, knowing yourself, which you'll get from a DISC or a predictive index or any one of those surveys that you take. So you'll understand what motivates you, what drives you, what makes you happy, and you'll understand how to play to your strengths. The second dimension, however, is understanding others and their strengths and how to bring out the strengths in them and how to communicate with them in their language. We all probably grew up around the golden rule. Our mom taught us, treat people the way you want to be treated. But there's something called the platinum rule. Treat people the way they want to be treated. That's what you want to do to have great team relationships with your team. It improves client relationships and your personal relationships too. You can use this with your family or with your kids or spouse or with your clients. You can walk into your client's office and look around or listen to the words they use and understand, are they an eagle, an owl, a dove, or a peacock? If they're a client, a potential client, and they're talking about facts and details, well, you want to mirror that by providing them facts and details in a crisp, clear manner. If they're a peacock, you're going to be more engaging and more upbeat, and you provide some of the color commentary behind the facts. If you're talking to an eagle, you need to be brief, be bold, be gone. You need to get to the point. Your emails to them should be bullet points, not long narrative paragraphs. If you're talking to a dove, you should talk about how what you're doing or how you're trying to help this client is going to help them, their customers, their partners, and their employees. It works across the board. And it helps you be a more effective leader because you're better at what you do. So success in life is doing what you love and doing it with passion. I'm doing this on my own time, on my own dime, to share this information with you all. Here's my contact information. It's pretty easy in terms of you can always connect with me on LinkedIn. You can connect with me on Facebook. You can connect with me through my email. And it's actually, sorry, there's a type. See, I told you I'm not a detail person. When I'm doing these presentations live, I tell people if they find a typo to reach out to me and I'll give them a free copy of my book. It is Pattie, Pattie Grimm at live.com, which is the same way you'll find me on these other things. Thank you, and I hope you have a super fantastic day. I really appreciate you all, and please reach out to me if I can help you in any way. And I'll see you next week for principle number 2 about standing out and creating your personal leadership vision to help you thrive in your career and life and keep you on course. Thank you.